He just stuck his middle finger in my face. So I lowered the monitor a little bit so I could talk to him. And that's when he ran around the speaker and attacked me.
All right, so the police are searching for Travis Scott after he allegedly punched a sound engineer at a New York nightclub that he was DJing at. So he's DJing. The sound engineer allegedly was like trying to tell him, hey, you need to turn down the music. It's way too loud. And there's some video that TMZ posted. So we're going to watch the video. We're also going to watch the follow up from the sound engineer. He was in the hospital. He explained what happened. And so what I would like to do from this is kind of gauge credibility based on what we actually have, right? The evidence as portrayed on TMZ. And then I would like to get your guys' feedback. All right, so he just pushed. This was the sound engineer. He pushed away. Immediate replay. So sound engineer pushes him away. Back the front door up. That's not what he said. He said a cursey word. Okay, so this is the interaction that we have, okay? And what's important here is what we just saw, right? So, I mean, did we see a big altercation? Did we see a fist fight? No.
Well,
But of course, this could be at a different point that it occurred in the evening.
I like that Travis Scott's wearing the Onyx back the fuck up shirt while he's telling the sound guy to back the fuck up. I think that was kind of fun in itself.
Identifying himself only as Mark, the engineer spoke with Fox 5 News from his hospital bed after the alleged assault at Club Nubella, and this was Wednesday morning. All right, so let's see what he had to say.
I was trying to tell him to lower it so so it sounded good for the performance. He just stuck his middle finger in my face. So I lowered the monitor a little bit so I could talk to him. And that's when he ran around the speaker and attacked me.
Your neck, your arm? What's happening with your arm?
Oh, my arm is tingling. I have pins and needles going down it.
I like how the guy interviewing him is prompting him. He's like, "Oh, remember you said your arm's all messed up?"
Terrible.
Okay, now let's play both sides of this, right?
Right.
So my first question is, if Fox News is there doing an interview, who called them? Right? So usually they're not just waiting like, "Oh my goodness, Travis Scott did something, we must report on it." Someone called them. And so I'm just curious whether the sound engineer called them. And of course, at some point he agreed to actually do that interview. That does not mean one way or another
Right.
that, he brought it on himself or what happened to him,
Building
or
his-
if it did happen. We don't know, but it's notable nonetheless.
Right. No, I think this is one of those cases where the video kind of helps and hurts you at the same time. From what I was looking at, let me tell you something. When you're DJing, don't come up to the DJ booth under any circumstances and turn anything down. Don't touch anybody's equipment. Don't touch the DJ's stuff. I don't care
Even
if
if you're
are
the sound engineer?
Doesn't
Isn't
matter.
it your job to make sure levels are proportional?
It doesn't matter. He could be doing whatever he needs to do from the front of house. He doesn't need to be
Okay.
on his decks touching his first. Don't touch my stuff. But I will say that from the video, looked like he just kind of didn't even really push him. Just kind of like, dude, like back up off my stuff. I didn't see really anything aggressive. But obviously it's not the whole altercation. And then
Well, no, so you have an entire night. There's an entire set that Travis is doing. So obviously there could have been a different time from what the sound engineer described. He's like, Travis stuck his middle finger at me and then came around the speaker. So he's describing something that actually did not happen in the video that we saw.
They gotta have.
Doesn't mean it didn't happen at a different time.
I'm sure in the club they probably have some kind of security camera systems or something. Maybe there'll be some other footage that's released later. I don't know, because that's just one angle. But I didn't see that, and I mean, for somebody that was really hurt, I didn't really see any marks on him. Now, it could have been the other side of his face where he got hit, and
Well, and he was wearing a mask too, right? So to the extent you get
That's
clocked
true.
in the face, or let's say the jaw, we couldn't actually see it. But okay, so setting that all aside,
I
what
would
are
have
we
pulled it
talking
down
about
for
here,
the
right?
cameras.
Because, well,
Pull that
you
guy
kind of
right
talked
down.
about provocation. Basically, don't mess with my equipment. What did you expect to happen? Now, from a legal standpoint, if we're representing the sound engineer,
I'm not saying a fight
right?
or anything it shouldn't happen. I'm just saying you don't just go and touch other people's equipment. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like
Yeah.
his
No, and that's
from
fair,
what
but
I
we're
saw in
talking
the
about
videos-
potential assault and
Right.
battery, right? So to the extent Travis Scott did in fact punch him in the face, how can we argue for Travis? Well, one argument can be, we've talked about defense of your person, someone else that you're defending, or defense of your property. We've talked about instances where someone trespasses on your property. You have a right to shoot them if necessary to defend your property. So, does he have an argument? This was defensive property because this guy was getting into space and touching his equipment. I don't know. I would need to see more video, but that's kind of how you would look at this from either side from a legal analysis.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's I mean there's plenty of people in the club, and if there's one thing that's out when a DJ is, on the decks, it's the crowd with their phones filming the DJs.
So after Travis's had his meltdown in the DJ booth, as TMZ is describing it, he purportedly attacked the sound engineer, and the sound engineer suffered $12,000 in damages. Now, guys, again, to the extent there's actual legal liability here, we say, okay, what were your damages? Well, we saw he was in the hospital, right? So whether he has insurance or he had to copay or whatever, they're now assigning this $12,000 in damages, which may or may not be his medical expenses. Again, we didn't see anything that had actually, happened on his face, but it doesn't mean
Right.
he wasn't punched, right? So now there has been an update. A source close to Travis Scott tells TMZ, as anyone, quote, as anyone with common sense can see, the video that shows Travis DJing in Nebula proves that the incident was nothing. All it shows was Travis's performance was disrupted by someone aggressively in his personal space. It's a complete and utter joke. Okay, if that's the video of what happened.
Right.
But again, there was an entire evening, they were both there, and obviously there was probably another interaction.
It's an aggressive move when you go and you touch somebody's stuff and you're like turning down their stuff, or I don't know. It's a very aggressive move. I don't like it. I'm not a
Yes,
big, and
don't
I'm not even like a
don't
big Travis
touch
Scott fan. So don't think I'm just trying to defend Travis Scott or anything like that. I just don't like it.
don't touch other people's equipment,
Mhm.
but also you shouldn't go and clock people in the face if that's what happened because they touched your stuff unless you were defending your property.